Saturday mornings are sacred when you've spent most of your life inside courtrooms and crime scenes. I was sitting on my porch, coffee warm in my hands, watching the trees sway like they had nowhere urgent to be. I had bought the house only 3 months earlier. Quiet neighborhood, clean streets, a place where no one knew my name or my job. That was the whole point. For the first time in years, I wasn't Judge Thorne. I was just a man enjoying silence. That silence died when tires screamed against asphalt. A black SUV slammed to a stop in front of my driveway. HOA enforcement decals glared back at me like a warning label. The engine stayed running. That should have been my first clue this wasn't going to be a polite conversation. The driver's door opened slowly, deliberately. She stepped out like she owned the street. Tall, perfect posture, sunglasses even though the sun was barely awake. A bright pink blazer that looked more like a uniform than a fashion choice. She didn't look around, didn't hesitate. She already knew she belonged there. 2 men followed her out of the SUV. Both carried tools. One had a wooden sign, so large it scraped the pavement. They walked toward my house like a coordinated unit. The woman stopped at the base of my porch steps. She didn't knock. She didn't ask if this was a good time. She cleared her throat loudly, the kind of sound meant to summon obedience. "Excuse me," she shouted, even though we were making eye contact. I took a slow sip of coffee. "Yes, you are in violation of HOA Code 402, Section B." Her voice had the confidence of someone who'd never been challenged. "And what does Section B cover?" I asked. She didn't miss a beat. "Failure to maintain aesthetic compliance." She pointed sharply at my lawn. "Your grass is a 1/4 inch too high. Your mailbox is the wrong shade of beige. And that truck in your driveway," she wrinkled her nose, "is an eyesore." I glanced back at my truck. Perfectly clean. Perfectly legal. "We've sent you 3 warning letters," she continued. "You ignored all of them." "I haven't received a single letter," I replied. She smiled thinly. "That's not my problem." She crossed her arms. "Due to unpaid fines totaling $5,000, the Pine Creek HOA is placing a lien on this property. Effective immediately. Your home is under foreclosure review." She snapped her fingers. The 2 men stepped onto my lawn without permission. That's when my pulse changed. They positioned the wooden sign dead center in my grass. One raised a hammer. The other held the post steady. Bang! The sound echoed through the quiet street. Property seized HOA foreclosure in progress. Neighbors' curtains shifted. Doors cracked open. Phones came out. Humiliation is a tool tyrants love. My jaw tightened, but I stayed seated. I had stared down cartel leaders who ordered murders with a nod. I had sentenced men who smiled while families cried behind them. A suburban despot with a clipboard wasn't going to shake me. "Patricia," I said calmly, reading her name badge, "you don't want to do this." She laughed. "Hi," mocking. "Oh, please. You people always say that." "You're trespassing," I continued. "And you're harassing a federal employee." That made her laugh harder. "Federal employee?" she scoffed. "What are you, a mailman?" She stepped closer, lowering her voice like she was doing me a favor. "Listen carefully. I am the highest authority in this community. Unless you have $5,000 in cash right now, you should get comfortable saying goodbye to this house." I stood up slowly. "I'll see you in court," I said. Her smile widened. "I can't wait. We have the best lawyers in the state. You'll be homeless by Tuesday." She turned on her heel, hair flipping dramatically, and marched back to her SUV. The engine roared. Tires squealed again. They left the sign behind. She thought she'd won. She didn't know the warning letters were never mailed, a trick I'd prosecuted before. She didn't know her HOA was already a whisper in a federal investigation. And she definitely didn't know the man she insulted had just been sworn in as a United States District Judge. I took out my phone. "Sarah," I said when my clerk answered, "pull every case involving Pine Creek HOA and tell the bailiff to prep the courtroom." I looked at the sign on my lawn. I'm taking this one personally. Monday morning arrived colder than usual. The courtroom buzzed with quiet arrogance. Patricia sat at the plaintiff's table wearing the same pink blazer, perfectly pressed. Her lawyer leaned in, whispering confidently. They smiled, laughed. She tapped her nails like someone waiting for coffee, not judgment. She didn't look nervous. Why would she? The defendant, the helpless homeowner, was nowhere in sight. What she didn't know was that I wasn't late. I was in my chambers. I slipped on my black robe slowly, deliberately, adjusted the collar, looked into the mirror. The man on the porch was gone. The judge was ready. The doors opened. "All rise," the bailiff commanded. The room stood as I walked in. Patricia barely looked up. I climbed the steps to the bench and sat down. "Be seated." She finally glanced up. Her face drained of color. The smile vanished. Her jaw dropped. She blinked hard. Then again, like her brain refused to accept what her eyes were telling her. She grabbed her lawyer's arm so hard he winced. "That's him," she whispered loudly. "That's the guy from the house. What's he doing up there?" Her lawyer frowned. "That's Judge Alexander Thorne." "No," she hissed. "He's the defendant." I seized his house. I lifted the gavel. Bang! "Order." The sound cracked through the room. "Miss Patricia," I said calmly, "if you interrupt this court again, I will hold you in contempt." I opened the file in front of me. "We are here to review allegations of illegal fines and property seizures by the Pine Creek HOA. I looked directly at her. It appears I have first-hand testimony. Her lawyer shot to his feet. "Your Honor, we move for recusal." "Conflict of interest." "Denied." The word landed like a hammer. "This weekend," I continued, "your client attempted to extort a federal judge. That act alone gave me probable cause to authorize an immediate forensic audit." I nodded to the bailiff. A thick stack of documents landed in front of Patricia. Bank records, fake fees, missing funds. "You didn't seize my house over grass height," I said. "You did it because you're running a Ponzi scheme disguised as an HOA." She started shaking. The Queen had no crown now. "Patricia Davis," I announced, "the Pine Creek HOA is hereby dissolved. All fines are voided." Her lawyer slumped. "And based on attempted extortion of a federal officer," I added, "your bond is revoked." "Bailiff." Handcuffs clicked. That sound echoed louder than any hammer. As she was led away, she looked back at me, terrified, broken. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. Bang! Court is adjourned. That night, I pulled the sign out of my lawn and burned it. It was the warmest fire I'd ever had.
The story's over. Now let's get real. Imagine standing there on all that land, every inch legally yours. If you were in the owner's shoes, what would you do? Let them stay, sell the homes, or pull some other wild move? Drop your answer in the comments and let's see who's the boldest.